What's up, Brett Schapire? This is my first time meeting you. How you doing this morning?
I'm doing well. How you doing?
I'm doing good. By the way, my name HB. If you ain't know.
Yeah, good to meet you.
All right. The first question I'm gonna ask you is, what made you want to start coaching?
Probably just got into it. I mean, mostly because as a health and PE teacher, I'm always been involved in sports. And then growing up, I always played. I still currently played, so it was something that, I kind of wanted to get into as I got probably like in my 20s, and then wanted to, not everybody can play and then coach too, so it's something you kind of got to try out, see if it fits. And I did it in for a couple youth sports and liked it. And then one of the first schools I was at, I did a little basketball program there with like the high school students, and then I did some middle school sports at Abington Friends, and I knew when I got to the high school level that it was something that I definitely wanted to do, and been doing it ever since for the last 8 years.
Mhm.
Okay. That follows our next question. If you played sports growing up, what were the sports?
I grew up playing baseball, soccer, ice hockey, and basketball.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's what's up. What were your playing days like?
Uh, for baseball, that was pretty much every spring, and pretty much every spring. And then I did that from probably age 6 till about like 13, 14. Soccer, I started at like 5, and I did that until all the way through high school. Um, Basketball, I did that same thing from about like 6 till basically like into high school. And then ice hockey, I started that a little later. I started that in high school, and then played in high school, and then just played like men's league and stuff like that afterwards.
Men's league. What men's league did you play for?
For ice hockey, I played at a bunch of different rinks in like Bucks County, Montgomery County. We also played in leagues in like Philly and like Skate Zone and stuff like that. Basketball, played in a couple men's leagues too over in like Warminster, and then soccer, played at YSC Sports in King of Prussia. I did that for the last few years. I haven't done that in a couple years now though.
Okay. What made you become a coach? Like really sit down with yourself and say, like, I could do this. This is what I want to do.
I think it's just an extension of my profession, which is teaching, because that's basically what I do every day anyway. Which is have basically a sport or an activity that I try to bring the students into my class and help them develop and get better, and then maybe advance to a sport, an actual organized sport versus just in physical education class. So it's kind of just in the DNA part of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I know you have said you played a couple of sports, but it don't matter which one. But what age did you fall in love with the game? If it's soccer, ice hockey, basketball, like what age?
I think I told you I started when I was young. A few of the sports when I was like 5, 6 years old, and I kept going with them. So I think that's when it all started, and then continued. I played in middle school too. So I grew up in Ben Salem in Bucks County, and our middle schools had teams. So I played all 6th, 7th, 8th, and then all the way through high school 9 through 12. So
You never fell out of love with any sports you played?
the only one I kind of fell off with was baseball, because I stopped when I was about 13, 14 years old. Just
Okay.
didn't have the drive for it anymore. Just focused on other sports, but it's still something that I enjoy the game. I just didn't enjoy playing it like at that competitive level anymore. But obviously, I coach baseball now, so that helped me kind of get that drive back on that competitive side, just not from the playing side, but from the coaching side.
Okay. What's the greatest memory you have as a coach and an athlete?
Uh, Athlete, just during some of our youth sports, we won like 3 championships in a row. That was for baseball when we were younger. Yeah, that was, and it was cool because the group we were with, like as we were moving up, we like stayed together. So and then when we went into the one league, most of us were on the same team, but we had a big championship win where I was more of a defensive player when it came to baseball. So I was a third baseman. I was more on the defensive side, but I had a strong hitting game that game. Got the game ball, and we won that. They tried bringing their like best pitcher out as first, and we lit him up early, so they had to pull him, go to a different guy, and that was an awesome memory. Uh, Same thing, had it was like a club kind of like in-house like basketball type league, and we won that too, and played with a couple like friends of mine that I grew up with playing, so that was a lot of fun too. Um, and then on the coaching side of it, I mean, last year our experience with the girls program, we did stuff that the team hadn't done in years, so that was probably since I've been here, aside from like my first year when I was with the JV boys and we had like a stellar year. That was probably one of my fondest and best memories so far coaching. And baseball was a good season last year, but girls team last year was definitely one of the highlights so far. So,
What were your ups and downs playing these sports?
um, I mean, it's always tough, especially like for soccer we start in the fall, so we come in during like training camp. We did that for like 2 weeks, 2 days. It's brutal, running like 9 miles a day in like
Oh, nice.
oh yeah, 100-degree weather. Stuff was crazy. Yeah,
Uh,
soccer's different. So that was always painful, but then during the season, and you'd be right because of all that. But had some bad shin splints my senior year, like in training camp, had to like sit out like 2 weeks.
Yeah, since Winslow too. I used to run cross country.
Yeah, when the only way you can fix them is through rest. And we had a tournament at Holy Ghost Prep. That's also in Ben Salem, and I was the sweeper for our team, so I'm the last defender, and I couldn't even. We played a game. I was good, and then we had like an hour break. Sat down, just kind of relaxing, and that just aggravated them, and they just flared up. That next game I was in, I couldn't even like move up the field. I'd make a stop, get rid of the ball, and I was just toast. So that part of it, the training, that's probably like the worst injuries I've ever had. Knock on wood. I never had anything, a few little ankle tweaks and stuff like that, but I've been lucky. You in the game stuff, take a shot, get hit with the ball, whatever it is, but you just play through all that stuff. So part of the game and part of the wear and tear. But yeah, that's really that's probably some of the biggest challenges, to be honest.
The wear and tear.
That, and then our high school soccer team, we had a lot of talent, but we just never really put it together. Like so we struggled, and we played in Suburban 1, which is a super competitive league. So we were always facing like Neshaminy and Pennsbury, and they're some of like the top programs in the state in Bucks County. So it was just always an uphill battle, and sometimes we play them tough, sometimes we just 4 years of that and losing and not winning the majority of the time, it's tough. So a lot of people would quit, but sometimes you got
Would you say the chemistry wasn't there? Like it wasn't there much chemistry?
Yeah, sometimes that affected it. And that was sometimes because, like I said, we had talented people, but it just wouldn't piece together because whether people had their own agenda or just didn't want to put that effort or just, frustrated with losing and not winning. It's hard to, show up every day and work hard and when it's not all working. But, it's sometimes that's unfortunately part of that journey. But that was just like the name of the game with our program. But something that I just fought through for 4 years. We just had to go through it.
Okay. Who's your favorite sports team?
What sport? I can't pick one team, but I can give you my favorite in each sport. So obviously the Flyers are my favorite hockey team, but obviously they've been struggling for years now, so they make it tough to watch. The Phillies, obviously, that was disappointing this year. Last year was a fun ride, but so hopefully they'll get back to it. I'm a Warriors fan with basketball. Steph's my guy. That's not. Don't look at me, coworker over here. He like to give me odds, but he's tapping in now that Maxey put up 50, but he doesn't. He's a lifetime. So, but and then I'm a soccer guy, so I'm tapped in with the Union as well. So those are probably my top teams.
Okay.
Would you rather be an athlete or a coach? Like now, if you had to choose.
And we're gonna say on a professional level too.
Yeah,
I know what you're talking about. No, I'd want to be on the playing side.
Okay.
I would definitely want to be. I love the coaching side. So that if I was currently playing right now, I'd want to go into the coaching when I finish. But again, it's not for everybody. You see guys retire, they try to get into that coaching game, and it's not for everyone. You have guys who are maybe some of the best in the sport they ever played. Sorry, guys, hold on. You have some of the most talented guys like ever in certain sports. I'm talking like considered best all time. They try the coaching thing and they just, it doesn't translate. Just because you were the best or whatever, that doesn't mean newer age players are going to listen to you the same way. You know what I mean? But for some, they might transfer right over. You look at some of the coaches in pro sports. There's a bunch that are former players. Some never made it there, so they went to the coaching route. So no, I would definitely want to be playing. But I think eventually I would have fell into coaching either way. It's in my DNA. It's what I do.
Okay. Last question. What's some advice you have for the upcoming athletes wanting to make it to the next level? Whether it's middle school coming into high school going into college.
I think the most important thing is to understand the big picture, which it's not just about the sports, right? It's about all the other intangibles too, because you could be the best at your sport, but if you can't figure out the other stuff, the school, right, the behavior-based stuff, understanding who you should surround yourself with. Now I get some people can't change family and stuff like that, but who you're hanging with socially, sometimes, that's your choice. So understanding all those intangibles and putting yourself in the right position, so when you do find the success athletically, all the other stuff is already lined up and good. Because if you look at some of the most touted people in the country, what's his name, Mikey Williams, look at that. All lined up. Look, athletically, all lined up, right? Didn't keep his other intangibles in line. Now he's what? Maybe jail, maybe. And the problem is when you go down that road, you have less people who want to take, a shot on you or risk it because, you're too much of a risk, too much of a liability to invest that type of money and time and commitment to. So I think just understanding the big picture, because at the end of the day, there are a lot of people out there who are similar in level. You know what I mean? Like maybe they're just not as good, but they're close. But maybe they do all the other stuff better. They handle the business side of it better, the personal stuff better. And if you can do that, I'm going to take you over that person. So, and it's a small number of people. Like not every, there's how many players on an NBA team?
You're right, not a lot.
Right. Right. I mean, I know there's 30 teams or whatever it may be, but that's not a lot of out in the country. With how many people are in this country? How many people play ball and want to try and get there? You know what I mean? And even
Sure.
and right, and the same for other sports. Look how many guys go into the NFL, make it out of college. What they have three-year careers and they're done. Now sometimes that's injury, and you can't change that. But some guys that go in there and they first year in they're with one team, boom they're let go, they go to another team. Third year another team, then they're like everybody's like this ain't working. And baseball's the same way. But a buddy of mine, he was drafted by the Phillies back in the early 2000s, and he didn't take it as serious as he should, and it got to the point where he never made it up to the Phillies. He was in double A, single A, and they were like he was a pitcher. And guess what? They were like, we got 20 more guys just like you. Boom, let him go. And it was a tough lesson to learn. And then he got himself back together, got back with an MLB franchise with Cincinnati, wound up in their double A, triple A system, doing well. I think he got called up for 2 major games in the bullpen, stuff like that. And, then he eventually retired after how many minor league pro years. And now he's got a successful training and AU baseball business. So there's other routes. And there's a lot of, so just telling everybody to come through that it's hard work and it's a long journey, but you got to do it the right way. And it's handling both sides of that.
Okay. All right, you could end the recording now.
No, I got bonus question.
Okay, I'm with it.
Yeah. What are some tips for athletes that struggle with confidence and self-doubt?
Yeah, and that's definitely a big one nowadays, because especially with all the mental health aspects. I think the biggest thing is, if you are struggling with that doubt, don't be afraid to rely on somebody else to help pick you up in those areas, because sometimes it's tough to do it all by yourself. So you just need a good support system. So if you are playing and you are committed to it, just find that support system. So when you do have those moments, you don't have to be alone with it. You know what I mean? Someone can be there, be like, oh, I see where you're at today, man. Let's just get away. Let's just have a day away from it. Because sometimes that's what you just need to clear your head, or maybe you just need that private session to kind of work your skills. And because if it always gets frustrating from youth sports, high school, pros. You think they don't have moments of that? You see it. We watch it. What is going on with this guy, right? So just having that good support system to pick you up in those tough moments, and hopefully that'll give you the tools and the necessary guidance to rebound from those moments.
That's a
Got
good
any more
answer.
questions?
Thanks.
Yeah.
All right.